Hi, everybody. My name is Joseph Goodman. Welcome to the goodies for this year, 2022. I should apologize in advance because I'm having a bad internet day. So if I cut out, don't worry, I'll come back a minute later. I'm going to briefly tell you a little bit about the goodies and what they are, and then we'll have all our other presenters present themselves and tell you a little bit about themselves. But the Goodie Awards are something we've been doing now. Believe it or not, this is the 5th year we're going to do it. It started as a small celebration of Gen Con just to recognize some judges who had done some amazing things for the tournament and for the players and for everybody who came to Gen Con. And it's evolved into kind of a celebration of all the really incredible fans that we have in the Goodman Games community and how much they do for themselves, the community itself, charitable acts for other people, and just, I think, supporting the values of the game and the values of us as a community. So we're very happy to be here and doing it live and online, so we can actually give out awards to people all over the world who have done amazing things in all sorts of places, which is what doing it online allows us to do, which we couldn't really do at Gen Con. And that's the agenda for tonight, to talk through just a list of amazing people who have done amazing things. And Mike actually said it really well earlier, so I'm kind of stealing your thunder, Mike. But the goodies kind of make themselves. Like, the community does all these amazing things every year that deserves recognition. It's not like we set out to recognize people over the course of every year. It's amazing what gets done by all of you guys. So what we're going to do today is, as we walk through all the different presentations, and I'm going to pull up my notes here. I should point out the process itself. So in the beginning, this was kind of we generated all the nominations, but starting a couple of years ago, we now started asking the general public to tell us who they think deserved recognition over the last year. And we get a lot of responses. I mean, a lot. So some of the ones who are winning tonight are those who are nominated by someone who did something amazing that we just hadn't heard about. Others are those who are nominated repeatedly by many people because they made such a big impact on the community and the people around them. And others are there's others that I wish we could recognize, but there's only so much time. And there's, we don't want this to be a 6-hour presentation. So I want to call out that there's a lot of people who I think deserve recognition, and just getting nominated by one of your, fellow gamers or your judge or your players or whoever it might be is awesome in itself. We can't get to everybody and won't be able to recognize everybody, but every single person who was presented to us as a candidate did something amazing that caused somebody else to say, this person deserves a Goodie Award. And I just want to recognize that. And even if we don't call you out specifically, there's a lot of other great stuff being done in the community at large. That's how the process actually works. We actually do give out a physical medal. It's really cool. It comes on a little ribbon. You wear it around your neck. You can wear it to Gen Con, and we should probably say you get +1 to all dice rolls or something. Maybe not in the tournament, but there should probably be some benefit we should work on. But that'll get mailed out after the show to those who actually receive the nomination here. So I want to briefly pause here and allow our presenters to tell you who they are. So I'm going to hand it over to Michael Curtis. Mike, why don't you tell everybody who you are and what you do and what the goodies mean to you, now that I stole your words.
Since Joe has ruined the surprise, I'm Michael Curtis. And we were talking, as Joe mentioned, we talked about, the goodies has just become this celebration of fandom. You people are awesome. And this is something we look forward to every year. I think while us going to a digital format allows us to recognize more people, it has cut back on the amount of strange hugs and kisses we get from people at random that was there for the very first, Goodies Award. We just, so it's a little give, it's a little take, but we are here to, we hear a lot of names tonight. Some of them will be familiar, some of them will be newcomers, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And if you did not get nominated this year, if you did not win this year, it just means you got to try harder next year. That's all. So, all right. I will now pass the speaking bone over to the person directly below me, which will be Chris Doyle.
Hey everybody, it's Chris. Everything 5e over here. So pleasure to be here again and everything. Again, what do the goodies mean to me in my life? And I told myself I wasn't going to get emotional. I'm going to save that for later. But I'm trying to keep it together. But the goodies, guys, gang, it's all about you. It's all about everybody who does everything. First, you've seen us. There's only a few of us. We can't be everywhere at Gen Con, at the booth, at Gary Con, at Gamehole Con. It really takes a village, and we have a huge DCC village of people who pitch in, and these folks, they just want to hang out at a game convention and kind of enjoy it, and maybe get to stand behind the booth for a little while and everything. And it's great, and we have such a blast welcoming you all into our little family. it's not so little anymore. It's a lot bigger. The village is growing. So with that, I will pass the baton over to my virtual left, which is Matt. So there you go, Matt.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. My name is Matt Hildebrand. I am the art director for Goodman Games. And as far as the goodies, I actually am a proud owner of one. And that was really what I think in the stepping stone from fandom to professional. Now, specifically, it's because I worship it every night and I light small candles and pray to it. But however you have to get there, I think it's worthwhile. So I'll concur with everything Mike and Chris said, that this community is really one of the biggest attractions to being a part of it. It definitely influenced me to want to get involved, want to do more. And I think every con I go to, every new artist I find, it only adds to that, to the positivity of that group, and that's worth doing. Before I get a little emotional, I'm just going to pass it on to Jen Brinkman.
Hey, thanks. I'm Jen Brinkman. I am the main person behind the booth now that Chris was talking about. I'm guilty of bringing all these new people in behind the booth, and it is and continues to be my happy place for the better part of a decade now. So I'm super excited for tonight and for next year to see who's going to be nominated for this giant list of people doing awesome things in our really huge family. But mostly I'm excited to see who's going to make a rival for the Chaos Lord mask next.
That's awesome. Well, listen, I think you guys alluded to the fact that many of the people presenting tonight, and many of the people in the community at large, especially those who have come to work for Goodman Games, in some ways have done something amazing and earned the Goodie Award on their own in the past. And I guess should clarify that certain people are not eligible, which is largely those who are sort of full-time or regular contributors to Goodman Games, mostly because the first year or two was them getting recognized for so many amazing things, and we wanted to make sure that we gave other people a chance. So there's kind of a, once you get enough recognition, you ascend to become a patron and you allow somebody else to complete the funnel. So tonight is going to be recognizing those who completed the funnel in the last year, and not so much recognizing those who've already demonstrated their value to the DCC gods through acts of valor and heroism over the last couple of years. Now, I will point out, though, every year we get lots of nominations for people who, in my opinion, are not eligible. I just want to acknowledge some who would be honorable mentions in that regard. Jen, you were nominated by a number of people, especially for the amazing job you did organizing Gen Con this year, which was incredible. You did a phenomenal job managing a huge show. Elena, who is the person behind the scenes here broadcasting this, was recognized by several people for all the work she does to keep these shows on track and moving along. But you can't have a goodie because you're staff. But you were recognized by many people. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. We have a lot of people who answer customer emails and help customers, take care of their orders, complete orders, take care of them at cons. And I think I cut out. I'll wait till my Zoom is caught up. Tell me when you guys can hear me again.
We can still hear you. Keep going.
It's not as bad as it was before.
Yeah.
Am I back?
Yeah.
You've been here the whole time.
Am I back?
Yes.
Am I back?
Oh no.
Yes.
You
Yes.
can hear him.
It's been that kind of night, right?
He's gone now.
He's gone. No.
He'll be here with us again shortly to give that list of honorable mentions.
All right, I'm back. Am I back?
There we go.
Yes.
All right. And that concludes the goodies. Thanks everybody for joining us. No, I wanted to make sure I'm back before I keep talking honorable mentions. I just mentioned Jen and Elena, and hopefully that came through the internet cloud. Some other people who have been recognized by customers who want them to get recognition. Jessica McDevitt and Jillian Downs, who handles some of our customer service, have helped a lot of customers who wanted to acknowledge their service. And a lot of the folks who help us at conventions like Dieter Zimmerman and John Wilson, their names also come up. So I just want to acknowledge all these people who've done great things and technically aren't eligible. Thank you guys. And now we'll get into the pool of folks who are eligible and actually start the awards process. One last thing for you who are watching it live. Some of you will watch this later on YouTube, but for those watching it live, this show consists of a lot of Be Right Back screens because we have to sort of go into the green room and pull somebody in to join us to talk. and then pause for a minute to go back out and pull somebody in. So there will be a lot of be right back screens. Just be patient, grab some popcorn, watch the show, and we'll come back every couple minutes with another recipient. So with that note on be right back screens, we will be right back. We'll be right back with the first nominee.
Hello, everybody. It is my pleasure to kick off the 2022 Goodies Award, and you're going to hear a lot of familiar names here tonight. If you've a DCC veteran, you've been hanging around for the community long enough. But however, this is not a popularity contest. So they're the real heroes are those people who deserve recognition because they are out there spreading DCC for the sheer love of the game. So, which brings us to the first person we're going to give a goodie tonight. This is Matt Sanders. Matt's, let me tell you a little bit about Matt here. So Matt started the DCC game in his hometown, and he's welcomed new players with open arms. He's developed a reputation of being not only a fantastic judge, but being patient with the players unfamiliar with DCC and doing a great job explaining the game to these people, because it gets a little weird sometimes, right? He has been nominated because his love for DCC is infectious, and it is clear that Matt does what he does because it brings him joy and it helps others feel the same way about DCC. His games have been a great way to put aside the real world problems that affect us and help shine a bright light on the otherwise dreary week. So that is why you were nominated, Matt, and we are very happy to give you the very first Goodies Award of 2022. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much indeed. That's really nice to hear.
So you it seems like you've been having a lot of people, a lot of newcomers at the table, or at least you've opened up.
Yeah, I started a game where I've got a total of 8 players who are almost totally new to RPGs altogether, running through the Chained Coffin, which we're just near the end of. We'll be finishing that in the next kind of month or two. And they've had a great time with it, as have I.
Okay, good. So
for them, it's been
like awards, then I'll give you an extra one just for.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take that. No worries. Yeah, it's been a really fun thing to do with them because they've been so new to it. They've learned so much about like the art of dungeoneering, really kind of steep curve, as you might imagine in DCC, but that's been really enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. What's, if you don't mind me asking, because I'm always interested, what's the age range of the players? Are they all roughly the same, or do you have a wide variety?
Okay, so our youngest she's either 19 or 20. She's in her second year at university. Mm-hmm. And our oldest is 50, and he's wanted to get into RPGs for years and joined this group as his chance. And now he's got I think he's bought about a foot of RPGs in the past 10 months, it's stuck.
So not only you're a great judge, you're an enabler. So that's yeah. And that was my intention by running DCC, is I wanted to get people interested in the hobby in a broader sense than they might get somewhere else, and that's really worked. So yeah, that's awesome, and it's really nice for that to be recognized here as well. Well, we're very happy to recognize you. If you have any words for the as Chris Doyle pointed out, this is a village. So if you have any words for the village people.
So what I've always liked about Goodman as a publisher is how much they are focused on play and the people involved in play, and how much having a good time and meeting people and enjoying connection matters. And the Goodies are a really good example of recognizing that. It's a real kind of privilege to start playing a game because I see that, and for it to be recognized in me is a really nice, completing the circle,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very much so. And DCC is a great way to spread that love, mostly because one of the focus from DCC from the very beginning has always been to do these skinny modules that you do in a session or two, and because as we get older and older, we don't have the time to do this massive prep anymore. So you've chosen a great system to introduce people to, and I'm glad they seem to be. They've taken to it enough that they've said, let's nominate our judge. So you be sure to be very. Don't kill anybody next session, okay? Just
I'll try my best. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Matt. I'm glad we could get you on here early, and the boss will be sending you the award once we got them.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you,
Lovely
sir.
to meet you all.
All right. We'll be right back with our next award winner.
And we're back with our next winner. David Gallico, you have been nominated by your fellow players and the people in your local community for boosting the local DCC presence to such a great height. And you are a tireless road crew judge. Your numbers are quite up there, sir. But you are a huge presence in the UK, and you deserve to be nominated and acknowledged and recognized for everything that you have done for DCC and the community as a whole. So as a great GM that you have been, they wrote in and said you were such a great GM. I wanted to ask, what venue is your favorite to run games in out there?
Anywhere I can get a group together.
Yeah.
That is the hard part, for finding people who are all free at the same time.
Well, I think that's a struggle in most games, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But we also wanted to thank you from Goodman Games for bringing the game to so many people. Do you have like a normal group at this point? Are you running like a lot of road crew games to bring in new people?
Well, mostly road crew games are done at conventions.
Yeah, which con is your favorite?
Well, I'd say it's because so many good ones. I like the Leicester Continuum. I like the Expo, although I think it does tend to get rather crowded.
That's awesome.
Edmonton Star, the Alban Wizard Staff, that's nice. That's a small one.
I only hope that I can go over and join you for more of these as the years go on.
It'd be nice if you could come over.
We will definitely be over for the UK Games Expo, but
Well,
you know,
good.
we got to start
That's
small.
good. That's good.
Is there anything you'd like to say to the community?
Yeah, thank you very much for this award. I certainly wasn't expecting anything, because I don't think I've done anything particularly out of the ordinary.
Well, sometimes just making a difference in so many people's lives is all it takes.
That's true. That is so, yeah. Yeah, I'm certainly very honoured to receive an award.
And I get choked up with every single one of them. I'm such a softie. So with that, David, thank you so much for just being you. And we will be back shortly with our next award.
How you living, cousin? Was that a good Brendan? I don't know. I did my best.
Perfect.
Since Brendan couldn't be here, I'd like to introduce Joey Royale. I have a few notes from Brendan, because I hesitate to say I was unfamiliar with your show before this started, but in the last couple of days I've been catching up, and it's been a delight. Here's a couple words that Brendan said. For being the most enthusiastic host of any of the Goodman Games Twitch channel, which I think is completely on. You have more amazing energy than any other show. You encourage folks to get involved with things like Start It Up, and also give some straight up wholesome life advice at times. Brendan also told me that he was going to punch a puppy if I didn't mention things like the Drinking and Dragons charity event, Ninja City, Darkest Dungeons, the Weird Heroes public access, and also this little baby that I have a few copies of myself and think is completely awesome. So, Joe Royale, I want to officially give you your Goodie Award tonight, and also ask you a few questions about your show itself. What was the biggest impetus in you deciding to start the show and keeping up with it?
I gotta evangelize the beauty that is DCC. I can't keep it to myself. To paraphrase a friend of mine, Mr. Al Pacino, out of the basements and into the streets. So I don't know. I got to share this. This has changed my life. It's helped me make some of the best friends I've ever had in my life. It's a great steam valve when it comes to the craziness of the normal world. It lets me escape hang out with great people and learn about myself and be creative. You can't go wrong.
That sounds great. I got two more questions for you. First one is, what's the next product? I've seen some of the creative stuff you've done so far. Can you give us any hints on what's coming up next?
Oh boy, sure can. Well, I got a whole bunch of things on the stove right now, but we're going to be returning to Fairhaven from Weird Heroes of Public Access. I have a bunch of people contributing. They're going to explore the mysteries of mundane suburbia a little bit more and figure out what's out there and save the town. And then, I don't know, man, me and Timmy D, my right-hand man, we got to get back to the carnival and we got to figure out what's going on with the madam and one of us. So get ready to get back on that caravan and figure out what's going on, the dystopian Dust Bowl as part of the sideshow. So we're working on that. And same thing, there's still stuff going on in Ninja City we got to figure out. So that's all coming. It's all boiling up in here, and I got to get it out before it's all over. So it's going to be a productive winter.
That sounds great. Yeah, winter's the best time for sure for taking care of creative projects. So the last question is, when's your next show? Because I'm going to tune in, and I can't wait for it.
Ooh, it's going to be a big one. It's the day after my birthday. So what's up to all the Scorpios? November 16th, Wednesday, and it's a big one, all right? I got my man Levi's coming on, and I got Bradley K in the house. We're going to sketch it up. It's going to go crazy. And then, of course, my cousin Marty and Dr. Metal are going to be on board. And who else knows is going to pop up. But it's a double feature down in the Mozzarella Mausoleum, but I can't wait.
That's awesome. All right. Thanks again, Joey, for everything you do for this community. Thanks for your energy. It's infectious, and we appreciate you.
To all my friends in Spaghetti Land, I love you all. Thank you very much, especially Joseph and Elena, who is unbelievable, and I can't thank you all enough. I love you all. You make my life better. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We'll be right back, everybody, with the next award winner. Thank you.
Hey, everybody, and we're back. And I will apologize. We're going to take this down a notch. It's going to be hard to follow Joey Royale there. So, but we're going to do our best. It's Chris, and I've got the pleasure to announce, also standing in for Brendan, for the very next Goodie Award. And the Goodie Award goes to James Posnell. Yay, so everybody should be clapping right now. So let me tell you a little bit about James. So James attends Gen Con every year. Based on that beard, I hesitate to think of how many Gen Cons you've actually attended. It's probably up there in the, scores. We'll use the word scores. And he even organized and ran a tournament back in 2019, which is awesome. This is quite, folks, talk about mighty deeds. In 2022, he recruited his teenage son to work at the Goodman Games booth for him. I have a teenage son. I know what a mighty deed that is. Okay, so we're just going to throw that out there. He is a third-party publisher of let me get this right, Horse Shark Games. I like 2 out of 3 of those things. Try and figure out which ones. And he's also been published in Goodman Games as well. And he's got many appearances on Twitch shows, and he is, I've been told, one of the most dedicated road crew judges out there. James, with all of our hearts and with some cheap metal, we give you the Goodie Award for 2022. Take it away, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to first thank my patrons, Cesar Can and Volundar from Angels, Demons, and Beans Between, the weird worker, the strange smith, and of course, last but not least, the Dark Master himself, Pesh Jumang, right, from Angels, Demons, and Beans Between #1. So yeah, it's been a big year. I did I feel like the Gen Con is the tip of the iceberg. There's Gacha of the Across the Multiverse, contributed to had the pleasure and the honor to contribute to Goodman Games projects this year, and I just thank my lucky stars and the community for the place where we're doing all this creative work and the space and the love for the product and the love for the game.
Excellent. Do you have a favorite project, Goodman Games project, that you participated in this year?
Absolutely. Hands down, Dying Earth to get
All right.
slotted in at the end of Dying Earth, and to write up a Mance and some other stuff to put in there, some spells, to go back to, pull out the books and deep dive and apply it to the game was just, and this is the best time, right? Because you can use all the words you want to use, before you're like, oh no, I can't use those fancy $17 words. I've got to use like the smaller ones.
Yes,
you can pull them all out,
Yeah, the higher Scrabble point words are highly encouraged. Excellent. And any highlights on any games that you ran this year? Any I don't know, maybe a TPK that resounded with you or something?
Oh yes, I had a great TPK this year. I was running Cats of Ratloo, which just finished the Kickstarter, and had a bunch of people come in. They all brought in fighters and halflings and stuff. And I was like, okay, well, we'll see how that goes. No thief, no wizard, no cleric. And so they got all the way to the end, and then I killed them literally, and it was either they're gonna kill the bad guy or I'm gonna kill them all. And the dice came up in my favor. I finished them off. I had charmed one of them, and they were fighting each other. It was brilliant.
Nice. And hopefully there were still smiles at the table though.
Oh, they loved it. They loved it.
Awesome. That's great. Well, James, again, thank you so very much. We appreciate all of your efforts with everything that you've done. I've seen you around constantly. I'm sure most of our folks see you and recognize you. So again, thank you. And we really appreciate it. You have any other last words before we pop off?
Thanks, everybody. You guys make it a pleasure to write, and be in this space.
Awesome. Thank you. That's our reward right there. So excellent. So we're going to be right back in a moment with the next award. Thanks, everybody.
Hi, everybody. We're back, and I'm here with David Beatty. David, please say hi to everybody.
Hey, Joseph. Hey, everyone. Glad to be here.
So, Dave, we have you nominated for a Goodie Award by a number of people who emailed in and asked that we recognize you. I wanted to start by just sort of reading some of the comments that fans said about you. The one that I think really struck home was this one. Somebody said, "The man runs into burning buildings for a living and recruits the DCC community to save orphaned kittens in his spare time." I think that's true. We all know you're a firefighter by trade and organize your annual charity, and that alone is worth recognition. I appreciate the values of helping other people so much, but I wanted to read some of the other comments that people wrote about you. He gives so much of himself to the community and is a tireless advocate for DCC RPG. He's an outstanding judge as well as a game creator. And I think many of the people here know that you not only run games, but actually wrote one called Weird Frontiers, which has landed in the hands of a lot of happy gamers and is just about sold out on the Goodman Games online store. So if you want a copy, anybody in the audience, buy it now before it's all gone. Yeah. Somebody said that you're among the most giving and kind people they've ever met. Somebody said it was their game with you was one of the best games they'd ever had at Gen Con because of your skill as a judge. That same person also said they talked to a number of people who have had similar experiences with you across a wide range of different cons. And I think you've done an amazing job of spreading your enthusiasm for the game through your work on Weird Frontiers and use that platform to sort of demonstrate values that I really appreciate. And I think the community does too. So I wanted to give you a Goodie Award to thank you for all your support for the Goodman Games community and all that you do. So thank you very much.
That's awesome. I mean, when you told me this, I had no idea what it was. So to hear all that, it's definitely kind of no, I'm just kidding. No, it's awesome.
Okay, man. Save space. Nobody else can see us. Just cry. It's cool.
No, I mean that really is awesome. I mean, I always preach how awesome the DCC community is, and you created it, man. I mean, and I always sing your praise. Everybody that knows Joseph knows that he is just an awesome guy. And if anything, when I guess when I deal with people, I always try and measure up to you, if that makes sense, to set that same standard, because I know that it's not always that way in a community in different games, but with the DCC community and Weird Frontiers, yeah, it's an awesome place to game, and you get these friends and you make them for life.
It's been amazing for all of us, I think, to see the community that's formed. So you've been a big part of it. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, man. This is awesome. And thanks to everybody. Had something nice to say. I don't know what kind of drugs you guys are on, but I'm just kidding.
Thanks a lot, Dave. We appreciate you coming on, and we'll mail you out an award soon.
Awesome. Thanks. Pew,
Thanks for all that you
pew.
do.
See you guys.
All right. We'll be right back.
Hello, I am back with our next award winner. And so the award that I'm presenting tonight goes to another name that's well known in the DCC community, whether he is running games at one of the several conventions that he attends every year, he's putting the tournament teams through their paces at Gen Con, or discussing the finer or not so finer points of Appendix N and DCC with his fellow Judges J over at Spellburn. This man, Julian Bernick, who's a name which you're going to be familiar to anyone who's been hanging around this crowd for a long time. Now, although Julian would be deserving of a goodie for all the reasons that I mentioned above, but tonight we're going to honor him for a different reason. We're going to honor him because Julian has become one of the most enthusiastic advocates of Dying Earth. So he has been running Dying Earth since before, I mean, obviously it's not quite out yet, but he's been out there in the trenches, giving people a taste of Dying Earth, allowing people to see why they should be playing it, in addition to actually writing for Dying Earth, so I mean, who better qualified? So tonight, and it doesn't hurt that he's an amazing judge. So Julian, for all that and above, we are very happy to give you a Goodie Award. So congratulations, sir.
Well, thank you very much. I've had a blast, and there were a couple times I tried to stop running Dying Earth, and I just couldn't. I just kept coming back to me, haunting my dreams. And I woke up under a huge red bloated sun, and I knew that I must continue. And so the Dying Earth games will continue until the inspiration stops, I guess.
Or morale improves, one of the two.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
So we, I mean, it can't be overstated just how much you've done for Dying Earth. I mean, just we're talking about the games you've played, but you've written several of the adventures which you've been publishing. You've written stuff for the actual set itself and everything. So you've definitely become you're actually, although you've become more like the public face of Dying Earth for a lot of people. So congratulations to that. Or I think.
Well, I didn't aspire to be the face of anything that started with dying, but I will say that hey, given that I think of it as a Jack Vance thing, it's just a little more palatable, but I'll take it. I love Dying Earth. I've had a great time. I think Mark has, come up with a terrific system, and I give him a lot of credit for great design work and a great project. And that's kind of what I took and grabbed onto and just couldn't stop running adventures and writing adventures for. So I've had a blast with it.
And now you're going to have a nice shiny amulet that you can wear when you're running adventures too. So just make sure that Kugel character doesn't come up, clocking and try to take off with it.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely be looking both ways, and when the Clint Bahatis and the Kovaxes are edging around the scene there.
There is a CD crowd out there. So
yes, indeed.
And any word out to the DCC community before we move along to the next award winner there, Julian?
No, I just I hope people are obviously they are. I'm getting questions. I was just at Gamehole Con. I'm getting questions about Dying Earth. Getting it in their hands, and I hope they are excited. I know they are excited as I am to get the materials in. They're pretty close. So, I'm just really excited to start getting the feedback when people open those boxes and open those books and see Errol Otis and the Doug covers, and I'm over the moon.
If only you had some sort of platform to be able to discuss that more.
Well, it's. I just want to publicly say it's Jen's fault. That's it's
And with that, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, just kidding. No, we might have plans. Who knows?
Thank you very much, Julian. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.
We are back, and with me this time are Chase Reinhardt and Stefan Fleckenberg. I hope I pronounced that right. You guys probably know why you're here, but everybody watching may not. So let me provide a short backstory here. June 1st of this year, Chase cold emailed Harley Stroh asking if you would mind if you recreated the ziggurat.
Gotta get it done.
From the pits of Lost Agartha. I believe Elena's running some visuals for you. Over the 2 months, well, less than that with shipping, he painstakingly created that ziggurat by hand so that it would be done in time for Gen Con, so that we could run the pits of Lost Agartha live at Gen Con after hours. The ziggurat itself includes glowing skull pillars, also cast by hand, metal on the ramps to allow minis, which are augmented by magnets, to stop their move while still on the ramps. I can attest those things are really effective.
Go good. It was on the tipping point. Yeah.
The whole thing can be easily broken down and into pieces for transport. Some people at Gen Con saw 3 of us walking around with upside down pieces of a ziggurat over our heads. It was a thing of beauty. But realizing that it was going to come down to the very wire, Chase reached out to Stefan to solicit help with painting these minis, and Stefan proceeded to hand select and paint the PCs that had been used in the playtests, as well as the Warlock. And without any time left, Chase gave the villains a monochrome dust paint and shipped everything off. Picking up the ziggurat, Mr. Stroh provides this story, was fraught with terror. The boxes arrived before we did, but then were missing by the time we arrived. And luckily, the amazing folks at the Embassy Suites kept hunting until they found them. And the end result is that 2 road crew icons bestowed the DCC community with an incredible gift that will continue to delight and amaze gamers for years to come. And you have turned this into something unbelievably detailed, tactile, and gorgeous to boot. And I think the entire community really owes you our thanks. So I need to hear now, what inspired you guys to do this, and with such a time crunch? It's unreal.
Yeah, I can hop in there. I knew early on that this is going to be big, and it's not the first large piece of like terrain I've crafted, and so it wasn't last minute. Reached out to Stefan. I secured his support early on because he and I actually met over a ziggurat. He ran me through one of the Gen Con, it was one of the romance Cyclones. It was Cyclops Con, I think. Yeah,
it was the first online tournament.
Return to the Star of the Seas.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I met Stefan over a ziggurat. We didn't die, but we we saw the van, got in it, didn't make the second round, no big deal. I also knew he was an avid miniature painter because we're friends on Facebook and can see what each other do. So the tabletop connection was strong there. Looped him in. He's got exquisite taste in old school sculpts that fit the Appendix N aesthetic and aren't the like super high detail plastic that you see in kind of modern miniatures, let's call it. And we just kind of wanted to provide something real fun that people could actually put their hands to. The Pits of Lost Agartha was amazing in digital when we had to do it that way. And I just had a compelling motivation to make it real. So yeah, I played a game with Harley in one of the recent cons, and afterwards I was like, I gotta ask him again. And I buzzed him, and he was like, yeah, sure. And then I just started working on it to convince him that we could actually do it. And
to be honest, I don't think he expected it.
No, totally. I mean, it's kind of
many people are like, hey, I'm gonna do this, and we're like, cool, let us know how it turns out.
How crazy. Yeah.
You
it took some time. My wife was very supportive when she came down at midnight many nights and was like, you're still working on this? And we got it done. Stefan and I and Harley just kind of kept the communication up, and we're chasing down that very deadline at the end there, but wanted to ship it and really hand something cool off with some really cool PCs and amazing minis that Stefan was able to paint up to put on this mega structure. And we hope you all come die on it and get slaughtered by gargantuan monsters as your blood seeps down the ziggurat back into the wine dark seas. So
it did get broken in a couple of times.
Yeah, it's at your house, right? Like
oh yeah. Stefan, I gotta know, did you have a favorite of those minis that you painted?
Oh, that's a tough call. There was so when I was picking the minis, I was trying to go for an aesthetic of you can have pants or you can have a shirt, but you can't have both. To really fit that that kind of old school vibe. And I think I did pretty well. I think my favorite was there's this guy that he kind of looks like a Thundar of a barbarian type. He's got, but it's like with the deepest fur one piece V-neck you've ever seen. And he's got a big medallion. And I was like, I think that's my favorite one of them all. I think that really captures the weirdo gladiator vibe that
Right on.
Yeah.
the
As
adventure
I said,
calls for.
exquisite taste in miniatures. Like,
Well, very awesome. I wish we could sit here and talk about it for an hour because I easily could with you two, but we have other guests waiting. We will be sure to get those awards out to you, and Chase, you can share it with your wife.
there you go. I'll snap it in
Awesome,
half.
thank
There you
you.
go. Yeah, thanks so much. And again, thanks to Harley for answering my cold email and not only not saying screw off, but saying yes and engaging and getting excited and just allowing this to happen. And Joseph as well, obviously, for helping us with shipping and getting everything there. So thanks to you all for kind of inspiring it and letting it happen. So.
All right, we will be up next with some special guests again.
Hey everybody, we're back. It's Chris. It is my absolute honor and pleasure to give the next Goodie Award to Mr. Jim Kitchen. For those of you who have been attending Gen Con for years and years, you probably know Jim already. If you don't know him by name, you've recognized him if you've spent any time at the Gen Con auction. He is the charity auctioneer extraordinaire. And let me tell you a little bit, that's kind of funny, of what Jim's done for the DCC community in the last couple of years. So back in 2021, when we were still kind of coming out of the pandemic, but not really, we were still doing virtual events. We held several Cyclops Con conventions, and Joe and I were talking one day, and he said it would be a great idea if we had a charity auction on the Friday night of it, because you do charity auctions at Gary Con and at Gen Con. And the first person we thought of that would be the perfect MC for this was Jim. So we reached out to Jim. And let me tell you, folks, reach out to Jim. You couldn't ask for a nicer guy. Again, kind of like a cold call. And we said, hey, Jim, you want to do this for you? And without hesitation, Jim said, let's do this. And so we went on and we did 2 charity auctions in 2021, and we raised over $12,000 for the Franklin Food Bank, which is a local food bank to me in New Jersey. And I know how important that was for that community food bank to get that money in the middle of the pandemic. We ended up being something like their 3rd or 4th highest donator of the year. We made such a difference for a very dark time for them, which was amazing. Jim gave up 2 Friday nights, and we went deep into the night on both of these and did not ask for any fee or any cut or anything like that. And not only that, folks, Jim made several very large purchases to even help out the cause, which was great. Now let's fast forward to 2022. Unfortunately, one of our own DCC folks had some health issues, Aaron Coleman, and Jim got wind of this, a very good friend, tight with the DCC community. And Jim took it upon himself to organize another charity event. This was not a Goodman Games sanctioned event. This was all Jim. We used our Twitch channel. Jim did everything. He organized it. We did Twitch. We did Zoom calls to organize everything. He kept the spreadsheet. He collected all the pictures. He worked directly with Elena to do everything, and gave up once again his time on a Friday night. And let me tell you, folks, it went deep into Saturday morning. I was there, and we did some great things. We raised over $30,000 for a charity and set up a very nice college fund. I cannot begin to express the thanks and what Jim has meant to our community. And again, he is the nicest person you'll ever meet. And in my opinion, the world needs more people like Jim Kitchen. So for that, Jim, we know it's not much, but we would like to bestow you a 2022 Goodie Award. Take it away, sir.
First of all, let me say thank you. This is a tremendous honor and really, really appreciate it. At the same time, you don't pull off something like a charity auction for Aaron without a lot of other help. We had Taco John in the background, John Hirschberger, who did a lot of the heavy lifting around collection. First and foremost, let me say thank you to everybody who bid. Let me thank everybody who donated. You know, I think it's a little frightening to say that Doug has promised that I owe a number of favors to people who made unbelievable donations, and we had original artwork, and we had some spectacular things that really created a bit of a bidding frenzy, and that's why we wound up with the total that we did. When I talked to Aaron at GaryCon, and he finally sort of told me what was going on, there was a lot of hesitancy around actually sharing the information. He had been dealing with stage 4 pancreatic cancer at that point for 15 months. And it was a very, very personal battle. In the weeks going into the charity auction, at one point, I had somebody who I'll say isn't really a close member of the DCC community sort of asked me on the sly, well, you know what the chances are of stage 4 pancreatic cancer? You know what the survival rate is? And I said, yes. And he says, well, you know, it's all well and good, but you know, they're asking the hard questions, right? And really and truly, it's when everything is the darkest that you absolutely have to have as much support as you can. I did a lot of talking with Aaron the night that he told me, and I said to Aaron, one of the hesitancies he had was, how do you open up this very personal battle, this very personal struggle with other people? And what I told him was, you are at a time in your life where you need support, and you need not only family, but you need friends. And one of the hallmarks of DCC, the Dungeon Crawl Classics community is truly unique in all of role playing. It started off as a bunch of people who got drawn in by a poster of Hugh and looking at the cover and having a lot of fond memories of playing D&D while listening to Molly Hatchet's Flirtin' with Disaster album blaring behind them. But what it has instead become, beyond sort of, I think a lot of publishers who are jealous of the success of DCC, they want to put it in a niche where it is very small and very unique, but that is not our community. Our community is very broad. Our community is very wide. Our community is very deep, and it is rooted in decency and treating people well and rolling dice next to people that maybe you wouldn't hang around with them every weekend, but the weekends that you're rolling dice, you absolutely would hang around with them. And so I said to Aaron, you probably need to practice talking about this with some close friends and family that you haven't told yet. But when you get comfortable enough to let us do something for you, you're going to discover how much love there really is for you. And I would say it probably took Aaron about 2 weeks. You know, I sort of sent him out that night to have a conversation with Brendan LaSalle. I sent him out that night to have a conversation with a couple of people. And at the end of GaryCon, he had, I think, 3 or 4 conversations where he had started to sort of chip away at that wall. And then finally, when he said, go ahead, that's when the tidal wave of love really just washed over him. I think, you know, I try not to bother him. I have a rough idea of what his chemo schedule is like in the course of a week. And so when you talk to him, you know, the specter of what's going on is always in the background, but you can't imagine anybody more cheerful, more decent, more uplifting to talk to than this man who is wrestling with something that truly, I think the rest of us we can't fathom what it's like. I have maintained for the last few months that Aaron is a paragon of virtue. He has in Bridget a support mechanism that, I mean, we all want to believe that we're loved the way we are, but here's somebody who has held his hand literally from the day that somebody said, you are a terrible shade of chartreuse and you should seek medical attention. That's as good of a joke as I can make at this point. But really and truly, this award is a great reflection on the community. I would not have had any of the success with the charity auction that we did if it wasn't for the DCC community, both the folks who donated things, the people who bid on things, and let's not forget some astonishing cash donations. That's another piece of this puzzle that just you can't deny, right? I think the story touched a lot of people. To put it in perspective, the Aaron Coleman charity auction brought in more money for a single charity for Aaron than the Gen Con charity auction has for any single charity. The Gary Con charity auction has for any single community or charity. And I think that's just, again, I think that's a tremendous reflection on the people and the pride in our community, right? That we're going to huddle up and we're going to take care of each other, right? We see each other at shows throughout the course of the year. A lot of us are a little disconnected. I'm in Central Flatlandia, so I don't get to see a lot of folks. But virtually, this is a family as tight and as well knit as the finest of rugs. You know, I often joke that you pick the ones you love, you pick the ones you're friends with, and you're sort of screwed with family because we all have those family members. But this is a community that I couldn't be happier to be a part of, couldn't be prouder to be a part of, and absolutely demonstrated its brilliance and its amazing depths of charity and its reservoirs of compassion in the summer. And I was very, very lucky to be a part of that. So thank you.
No, thank you, Jim, because it does. We mentioned once already. It takes a village, and the DCC community is that village. But the village does need a leader in dark times, and you were that leader for that dark time. So thank you.
And come on, right? Like it doesn't take a village. You have to get a mob together to take the village and then burn it down and haul the loot away.
Yes. Sorry. And that Friday night in July, we took a lot of loot away, and
that was a long night. That was a long night. There was many luck rolls, many luck rolls. And so thank you, Chris. You know, I'm at work tonight. I pled the fifth. Well, I didn't plead the fifth, but I sort of pled my case to a couple of higher ups to take the time to do this. And I'm very pleased to be here.
Well, thank you very much. Folks, thank you. And the next time that you guys are at Gen Con and you pass Jim in the dealer's hall or the auction, you know, say thanks for him. So everything. Again, from somebody who lost both parents to cancer, I'm with you, Jim, and thank you very, very much for coming tonight. Appreciate it. So
no, thank you so much.
All right, we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Thanks, everybody.
Awesome. Hello, everybody. I'd like to introduce Will McAuslin, an incredible artist who does some work for Goodman Games, in addition to some other publishers, and for himself. There's going to be a few artists that are featured on tonight's show. Spoiler alert. A few faces that you won't see are people like Doug and Brad. They're not really eligible to be recognized for their work, although they've been recognized many times over the years, but they're in a different relationship with Goodman than some of the artists we're going to see tonight. But I think I can say about all of the artists that you're going to meet is I have a phrase written down here: so many hats. I think that one of the reasons that Will is here tonight is because he can handle anything that I throw at him, that we throw at him, right? He works in black and white. He works in color. He works in watercolor. He'll work in graphite. Usually he's the one who comes to me and says, hey, Matt, I got this idea. Can I try this? And I say, yes, you can. In addition to illustration work and also painting, he even does maps. Yes, the dreaded maps. And sometimes even color maps, which is even more of a sin, but Will's not afraid of anything. So I'd like to introduce Will and offer you your award, which you'll be getting in the mail sometime soon. But I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. First of all, congratulations, and thank you for doing all the work you do. You make my life easier, Will. So congratulations for getting this award.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I was like, oh, this is amazing what you guys are putting on here. I watched the 2021 version of this this afternoon. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like, look at the display you got here, and pulling this off is awesome.
Yeah. That's all thanks to Elena. She's the wizard. We are just in her thrall. So I think the only thing that you do more than working is camping. And you're up in a place in Canada that is beautiful. And tell us a little bit about the studio that you have set up there and how it all works.
Well, this is my basement studio, but you're right. We do a lot of camping in our trailer at a place called Shoe Shop Lake near Kamloops, British Columbia. And my portable studio there is a chair with a fold-out side table and a glass of wine and my sketchbook. And I do inking out there and penciling, and we've got 1,000 lakes around us up in this region here, so it's no shortage of places to go, and no shortage of mosquitoes either. So some of my pages are stuck together with some bloodsuckers.
Yeah, to use them to defend yourself. I get it. That's cool. Yeah. Well, how did you? You've had a relationship with Goodman that's lasted quite a few years. Well, how did that start?
20 years now, just about.
Is that right?
Yeah, I time it to when my oldest daughter's 20 now, so I always know how old we're.
How did you and Goodman get connected way back when?
Oh well, it was great. You know, I did the cold call thing in the way, like the virtual cold call. I sent out emails to different publishers with a link to my very simple portfolio at the time. And our first project was, I think, Dinosaurs That Never Were, which is an amazing book. And dinosaurs is my thing. And yeah, that was the start of it.
That's great. That's great. Very cool. All right. So I mentioned that you work in all kinds of different media, whether it's in pencil, in ink, in paint, even some digital work. You do maps. There's nothing you don't do. But tell us what your favorite thing to do is.
Oh well, Joseph, you know this. We did this pointillism for Tales from the Magician's Skull, just last week or something, 2 weeks ago. I've never done one this big before, so I don't know if no one's gonna be able to see this probably, but it was a beast. It's a double page spread. I don't know if I should be showing that or not, but it's a hand killer in a way. But man, what an addictive thing, like staying up to 2 in the morning, doing these little dots and just building it up and building up. And it has sort of like a pixelated photographic feel to it. So that's my new thing. And working on the gray paper now with the black and the white pencil crayons, like the big, oh man. I hope that comes out nice. I would love to be doing a lot more of that. So I want to try to do new stuff. And Joseph has been encouraging me to try some scratchboard. Which I just got to find larger sheets.
Nice. Okay, awesome. Cool. Well, we appreciate you coming on, Will. As I said, you can accept your virtual award tonight, and you'll get a physical one soon. And I said it before, I'll say it again. You make my life better, and I appreciate you. Thanks so much for everything you do.
Well, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Awesome. All right, we'll be right back in a minute with featuring the next award winner.
Hey, and we're back. It's Chris again. I seem to be doing a lot of the early lifting here for these. But my next guest is Corey Welch. And he is going to be the recipient of our next 2022 Goodie Award. And I'm going to say a couple of words about Corey. So Corey is, from what I've been told, one of the hardest working road crew judges out there. So we applaud him for that. He is a DCC community stalwart. And I'm sure that means a bunch of different things to a bunch of different people. So I'm sure we're going to get into exactly what that means. From what I understand, Corey is a huge X-Crawl fan and supporter. Maybe that means 2023 is going to be a really awesome, exciting year for you. Who knows?
I hope
we'll
so.
See.
Yeah.
But what I really want to talk about is some of this charity work that Corey kind of heads up. Corey is the creator for and I hope I get his name right, the Jerry Stefik Crawl for the Cure. Now this is a charity event that was established in 2019. And it benefits the American Cancer Society, and it is in his honor. Corey has come up with, in my opinion, a great catchphrase, slogan, whatever you want to call it, for this event, and I think that's probably important. Here it is, folks. I got to drop it on you guys. It's "Help smite cancer with your mighty deeds." I mean, if that doesn't hook you and catch you in, that's great. In 2022, Corey's efforts at Gamehole Con raised over $1,800 for charity. And in 2021, there was an issue that either Corey couldn't be or the organizer couldn't be at Gamehole Con in person, so they actually held it virtually, called EtherMeet, I believe it was, an online convention. And at that convention, he raised over $3,100 for charity. So for those reasons, we would like to acknowledge Corey and all of his efforts in being a stalwart, a huge fan, a road crew judge, and these wonderful, wonderful charity efforts that he has done. So we would like to present you with the 2022 Goodie Award. The floor is yours, Corey.
Man, thank you guys so much. I would like to say my name is attached to this. It is not me. It's not just me. I would like to thank Steve Seminario, my best buddy that has been helping me with this from the beginning, and my wife Hazel, who is working tirelessly so we can do this. There would be no Jerry Stefik Memorial Crawl for the Cure without them. So we were up all night getting stuff ready. No, it was it's incredible. I have to thank everybody out there. Edwin Nagy, excuse me, from Frog God, who really, and his friend Sean Murphy, who has basically taught me a whole lot of stuff about this charity thing, and basically just the fact that Brendan the reason we got 3,000 last year is that he encouraged me to do so. And guys, the funnel is a great tool for raising money. So thank you, Goodman Games, for making us allowing us to raise money to keep people alive. I really appreciate it. Finally, I really want to thank this community. Is incredible. I'm stunned. I keep saying stunned and floored and everything else. We have gotten so many sponsors, and I'm going to put this in chat, and please do go to the link and check it out. I mean, it's unbelievable how much they have given us. Goodman, Stiff Whiskers Press, Black Blade. They've given us all this stuff so we can award our donors, and it's incredible. So I want to thank you all. And really quickly, I just want to let you know, we are doing EtherMeet again this year. We're at crawlforthecure.net. It will be on DCC Mayhem. I'm hoping that we can put it on the Goodman Games channel. It will be December 10th, Saturday, 2022. So thank you. And thank you for keeping Jerry Stefik's memory alive. He was such a great guy. And this is why we do it. Just trying to keep his good works around for the future. So thank you all. And thanks so much for this honor.
No, it's our honor, Corey. I mean, again, you can just see by your smile of just the energy and the passion that you have bringing to this and everything. And you know, like I said, we've talked several times tonight already about how it takes a village to do some of the things that we do, and then to burn that village down and loot it. And clearly you're doing a great job of building the village, burning it down, looting it, making your luck rolls, the whole 9 yards. So thank you very much. We do truly appreciate all of your efforts, and thank you. So
thank you, everybody. Yeah, have a great weekend. Thanks.
Great. We'll be back in 1 minute, folks.
Hi, everybody. We're back. I'm Joseph Goodman, and I'm here to present a Goodie Award to Diogo Nogueira, who is zooming into us from Brazil. Welcome, Diogo. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Oh, thanks for having me. That was really unexpected. It's great to be here and see all these familiar faces again. It's been a while, and DCC has really changed the way I see fantasy gaming, and it's always a pleasure to be here and talking to you, and someone that I have already said to you that your work has always inspired me, and all the things that are right. I always put something of DCC in there because it's something so important to me.
Well, we appreciate it, and I wanted to let you know that you were nominated by a couple people. And I think everybody here has done something special. You're quite possibly one of the few people who has inspired a national movement for DCC RPG. I think a number of people from the country of Brazil have told me that you're probably the single strongest voice for DCC in Brazil. And if it's popular there, which from what I hear from our translators, it's at least partially, if not largely, due to your work. As one person said to me, quote, if Joseph is the Dark Master, then Diogo is the High Evangelist, at least in Brazil. So I wanted to thank you for not just this past year, but for the many years of promoting the game and sharing all the values we have and doing everything you can. I know it's never easy for us to ship to Brazil. I know you've even come to Gen Con to make sure you can get the products. We appreciate all the support and all the enthusiasm over the years.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I remember like the first cons we have here, just bringing the books and then presenting people the game and always wearing the t-shirt, and it has been great. And I got to know so many people because of DCC and played so many games because of it. And I'm always glad, and has always been a pleasure. The first time I went to Gen Con, I didn't know anyone, and the people who welcomed me in were the DCC people, and I'll never forget that. And the DCC family is like, it's my gaming family. So thank you so much for this.
You're welcome, and thank you for all your contributions.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, we'll be right back. Thanks, Diogo.
Bye-bye.
Our next winner came as a complete surprise. Largely because we were pretty sure we gave this dude one of these by now, but we looked back at the paperwork and we realized somehow we made it to the Goodie Award number 5. There are some names who have become synonymous with DCC RPG, and our next winner is one of those, Mr. Jim Sketch. So it's safe to say that Jim deserves a goodie solely for the financial support that he's given DCC since the very beginning. But however, that's ethically questionable, so we've had to look for other reasons.
That's right. I bought mine.
Yes. So Jim has been contributing to the DCC community since the very beginning in ways that don't add to that giant collection, which is over. He's been one of our regular tournament judges. This year, he clocked an impressive fatalities to player ratios of 1.75. Now, as I'm a word monkey, I have no idea what that means, but it sounds pretty damn impressive. So congratulations on that, Jim. So.
Thank you. And I think I hold the record for getting a number of tables to quit the tournament mid-game.
Well, you had plenty of time because Jim he ran 6 tournament games at Gen Con 22, which means he barely had enough time to get to the Goodman Games vendor booth and buy stuff. So,
and thanks to all the great folks who were working there and set aside things for me because I wasn't going to be able to make it to the booth.
Shut up and let me finish introducing you. All right, thank you very much. You'll give me enough time to talk in a minute. Right? So Jim has been kind enough to open the condo to the tournament team year after year in the Gong Farmers Almanac. We get there, we do the stapler party. We have the test runs of the tournament stuff, and he's also the leading proponent of SIGPUP, which is a society to increase the gaming population using procreation, and being the proud father of Haley Sketch, who is another lethal judge name known in the community. So. Jim, this award has been long delayed, but I'm glad that it has also been long deserved. So I'm glad we could rectify that situation tonight. Congratulations. Now you can talk what you want.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Oh, my wife just
thank you, Haley.
God damn it. Yeah, I would say that if I and how do you get an award for just having a kid? So because really that's what my award should be. I'm not cleaning this up because that's really the best thing I did for this gaming community is give you Haley, because I'll be gone in a few short years and then she can take this and, run everything from that point forward. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Joseph, it struck me as I was listening to some of the other recipients tonight. I'm curious if you ever thought in your wildest dreams that you would have built a community like this. When we were in that stupid Ridge room 12 years ago now, I think. And you were like, hey, want to play a game? So I think
I can answer for Joe and say no.
Yeah, that's an amazing thing. And I'm blessed to have been a part of it. And I've made a tremendous number of really good and close friends. And I can't thank you all enough for helping take care of my kids at cons. And it was really just a babysitting effort that I was doing.
It really was.
And now all this. So thank you all very much. I appreciate it. And let's go Dying Earth. You can stop now because I'm not cleaning this up.
One more time, Haley.
No, that's actually my wife. Probably Haley told her to do it, but yeah. So yes, thank you all very much. And what I really look forward to is GaryCon, when I get to see you all again in person, and we can all hoist a shot. And this time I'm actually going to get a room for the Saturday night thing. I'm already been talking to Luke about it, because yeah, we're not going to get kicked out again.
Okay, good. All right.
So I look forward to seeing you all at GaryCon and
We'll
probably
be
some
there.
tournament and killing people, or
All
characters. I mean, characters I meant.
Congratulations again, Jim.
Thanks, guys. Greetings, everyone. I'd like to introduce Stefan Pogue, the man who needs no introduction, because his work has graced Goodman Games products for years and years. Stefan, you're the second of the artists that we're talking to tonight. Congratulations for earning this Goodie Award. I think that there's a couple things that I wanted to say, probably about all the artists, but definitely about you. The title of this next part of the speech is Bacon and Fire, because you have hoisted my bacon out of the fire so many times over this year and previous years. Whether it's a tight deadline that I email you in a panic, or someone else's timeline falls apart, or probably most often I screwed up and forgot to commission something in time. There's almost never a time that you don't say yes. And as I mentioned about Will, another advantage to working with you is you can work in so many medium. You can work in black and white, you can work in color, you do awesome work in both. You work on maps, as I said about Will, even color maps, God forbid. In any case, your work is everywhere, and I think that DCC wouldn't be what it is without your contribution. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome. So I have it on good authority, in fact, that from now on, everyone should know that the right way to pronounce your name is Stefan, because you told me that that's how your parents pronounce it, and who knows better than Stefan's parents. Amen. All right, cool. So another, I have two things that I wanted to bring up and get your reaction to. And one of these, I think I told you in email, is that you constantly take me by surprise. I'll send you a commission that sometimes I can sort of picture, oh, it might look like this. And when I get something back from you, it's new and it's different, and the angle and the perspective are so unconventional. I think that's one of the things that makes your work special.
Thank you. It's nice to hear. Yeah, I mean, you try to dial it up, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Let's say I had anything to do with it. Who knows? The other thing I wanted to mention is that just recently we had a few folks on, and they talked about this incredible ziggurat that they built and came in pieces to Gen Con, and I was lucky enough to get to play on it. But pretty soon, everyone's going to be able to play on a ziggurat. Now, granted, it's a virtual one, but included in the yearbook that's, if it's not for sale on the site now, it will be soon. You created all the assets for a digital version that people can take and play on a Roll20 or the VTT of their choice. You created not only the ziggurat itself, but all the enemies and also some PC tokens and everything you need to play the game. Tell us a little bit about how that all worked.
Well, as you remember, it was kind of a challenge, because we were trying to figure out how to do this thing to the point that it could be printed in a usable size. I mean, you're moving little tokens around, so you either have the chance of going with tokens that are so small you can't even grab them, physically with your hands. Map or some horrible combination of the two. So luckily for us, we currently, rather than paper chips and all that kind of stuff, we can do it digitally. So a wind won't knock out your whole campaign.
A strong wind. Cool. So what I visualize is this is really just the first stage in the eventual Lost Pits of Agartha board game that will be kickstarted to great effect, and all of us will be able to own in our own homes. So hopefully your artwork transcends all those stages until we get to that point. We'll see.
Right on. I look forward to it.
Very cool. All right, Stefan, I appreciate you stopping by. I appreciate everything you've done. You've earned this Goodie Award, and you will see the physical version come to you shortly, but consider yourself an award winner as of tonight for sure.
All right. Right on. Thank you, Matt.
My pleasure. All right, everybody, we'll be right back with our next award winner.
So it's really impressive that this DCC family is still expanding. We're a decade in, right? Hashtag not a cult, right? As Mike mentioned earlier, as with Judge Julian, some of the community are already a close family and not just on a personal basis. Not only does Hector the Cruise Missile do the sound editing for the Glowburn podcast, he has also done the same in the past for both Spellburn and the Sanctum Secorum podcast from time to time. So, man of many talents and can deal with many different personalities, which kind of leads into, he's also become one of the experimental DCC judges at cons that, from what I understand, cannot be missed. And Hector, you also stepped up in the past couple of years to run a ton of the online games in our Cyclops cons, in addition to Gary Con Online, and in addition to all of these other online cons. And I have to say that in our most recent, which was Romance of, you became a fan favorite. Some of your games sold out faster than the names you would expect to go first. I know, crazy, right?
That's crazy.
That kind of tells us a few things. I gotta ask, what inspired you to create our favorite poster with the cultists?
I've seen a lot of people make their own DIY like posters, and I just kind of wanted to take a stab at it. And I have to admit, knowing Photoshop and Illustrator and all that great stuff, it definitely helped. And I saw this artist and I thought his stuff was really cool, and I thought it would have looked fantastic on the poster. And so I reached out and did a little graphic designing, and we just made it happen. So I was stoked that I actually won that. Wasn't expecting it or this. So I just super happy.
Well, and for those not familiar, it's the iconic image of the two cultist, what would you call them?
Sort of like pamphlet. These two cultists hand out pamphlets, to join.
Standing next to the little stand that says "Try DCC," and that for the last 3 or 4 years, that's kind of what the road crew has lived by. Just hey, come on, play DCC with us. And you personify that so well, and you created our favorite bumper stickers too. You won that contest too.
I'm lucky. I'm super lucky. So thank you.
But you are ultimately, it goes back to you being the power behind these podcasts that have helped to create such great and loyal followings, and just continuing to build up this community. And anytime people see you at conventions, they're like, oh man, I wish we could have gotten in his game. And so I have to ask you, what has been your favorite adventure to run this past year, like at Gary Con?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would say Doug Kovacs's Reverse Sailors of the Starless Sea. I reached out to him and he was super cool, because I've heard about this only, through the rumor mill about this game. And, he was super cool. He gave me art for it, gave me tips on how to run it, and just said, have fun with it. So that was definitely a highlight for me this year.
Do you have any other Kovacs art you'd like to share?
Any Kovacs
art that you would like to share with us?
Oh, I mean, I don't have anything on me
You have
right.
one right on your arm, I thought.
Oh, oh my gosh. Oh yeah, duh. Yes, yeah. I actually commissioned Doug Kovacs. See, I'm a little slow. Yeah, I actually commissioned Doug Kovacs to design a tattoo for me. Let's see if you can see it here. But I wanted a space dragon, and I didn't want like your typical dragon, that like everybody has that you
Yeah.
see
Oh,
in the tattoo shops. So
yeah.
I kind of gave him, the colors that I wanted, and he belted that out. And of course, like the first take, I just saw it and my face melted, and I'm like, yes, that's what I want. Here's my money.
Yeah, right. Well, awesome. I know that doesn't translate on Twitch very well, or even on Zoom camera, but kind of had to throw that one in there while I was here. I mean, since Joe gave it to me to present, I'm gonna use what I got. No, thank you for being there for all of us, as a personal friend, and I know that you're part of this tight-knit group that anytime somebody raises a hand and needs something, you are right there. So from the bottom of my heart, we're very grateful for you.
I'm like I said, I'm flabbergasted that I even got this. So I mean, Joe, thank you for creating this game. Like seriously, I probably wouldn't even be running games publicly if it wasn't for this. This is the first system where I ever ran a public game. So thank you for that.
Ding ding ding.
Exactly. Broadening my imagination, and especially thank you to all of you who've come to my games, who've played with me, and for all of you out there just being an awesome community. I don't know what to say. It's just amazing just seeing everybody who's getting awards, and I'm just honored to even be among all those cool and just awesome people. So thank you.
And for our previous winners tonight, don't worry, we're not going to bring you all on the same screen to be flabbergasted together. It's okay. It could get weirder, but yeah, it's been a long week, right? And we'll be right back with our next lucky contestant who's already won.
Everybody, we're back, and it is my absolute pleasure to give out the next Goodie Award to Tim Wadzinski. Tim, this is a long overdue award. This is kind of more of a lifetime achievement kind of a thing, that we obviously you slipped through the cracks like a couple other folks have. We're making up for, this is the year of the makeup call, basically. But for those of you who don't know, Tim is one of our very first 5e editors. The first book that he edited was FEF number 3, way back in 2015. And Tim edited every single OAR book, all 6 of them, start to finish. Nobody else, no help there. He didn't need any help on that. He also did Crypt of the Devilich. Tim did need to take a step back because we've been working him too hard, clearly. But then he's back in the fold and everything on it's load management. We're just trying to make sure that we don't burn him out. But I just gotta say, working with Tim is an absolute joy. Not only does he have an eagle eye to find errors in TSR maps that have literally gone decades without being discovered, but Tim not only edits the words, but he actually thinks about the encounter. And this is an example of one of the conversations we've had. Like Tim would come to me and say, hey, the archers up on the wall, they got hand crossbows, but he goes, the range on them means that they're going to be at disadvantage to hit, because if you measure it and do the angle, the hypotenuse of the angle, it's like they're all going to be at long range, and that's just going to be terrible. It's like if you gave them light crossbows, that would be a much better encounter. And I would sit there, first of all, in stunned belief that I just got schooled on math. And then I'd be like, that makes a lot of sense. And that's a much better encounter. That is just an example of what you got with Tim. So I mean, the attention to detail was amazing. He attends most Gen Cons, and he's got several levels as a booth attendant, booth jockey. I don't know what we call them, booth whatever. We have to have an official name for that. Always willing to jump on a Twitch show and participate, which is great. But here is probably the most important reason why I am so thankful to Tim. Tim is very active on all of the Goodman Games social media platforms, Facebook, Discord, and there's probably a half a dozen others I'm not even aware of. I don't do any of those. So the first time I hear about the latest, tragedy or debate or whatever on one of these platforms, I hear it from Tim, and then I go track it down and I check it. So I mean, he just does that, probably to just kind of get under my skin, probably. But I don't know, whatever reason. But I can't say enough about Tim and everything that he's done for Goodman Games since 2015. So long overdue, sir. Thank you very, very, very much. And it is with absolute honor that I award you the Goodie Award this year.
Hey, Chris, thank you. And, I don't know if you knew this, but Wadzinski is actually Polish for hypotenuse. So I had to throw that at you that time.
That's all.
No, I just looked, I was wondering how long it had been since I was doing stuff for Goodman Games. And, I think I officially, came on in 2015, but my wife and I actually have been doing proofreading together since it's been coming up on 10 years now. So I'm just about at the 10-year mark. So it's great working with all you guys. I love working with you. I love working with Michael and Matt and all the artists and Benjamin and the rest of the editors. Whenever we have group calls, everyone gets along great. I think we all work together pretty well. And since you got the gig as the 5e director, I do sometimes, I can't go to bed at night unless I figure out a way to needle you the next day. So it does keep us both on our toes.
Yeah, or show an awesome album cover that would make a great, encounter design or something like that. I get these all the time from Tim, the music aficionado, who was also be like, hey, this encounter you wrote, definitely inspired by this Iron Maiden song, right? And I'm like, what? Who? Huh? I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So never miss that either. So
yeah, that is rough. I got to get you schooled up on old school heavy metal.
No, if it's not, not 80s pop, I'm kind of lost. And so I apologize for that. So but thank you, Tim, again for everything. And I am just so thankful to have you back in the fold. Having Tim at 20% is better than having Tim at 0%, and for that I'm thankful. And like I said, you make our products better, and it's all those other little things that you do that we don't even ask you to do, that you do anyway. And for that, we would definitely like to acknowledge you as a 5e supporter and just a wonderful Goodman Games advocate.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. This is really cool. And I'm glad that I was able to come back into the fold like that. So thank you for having me back.
Awesome. Anytime. Doors are wide open. So all right. I'll be sending you something next week to edit. So
sure. Yeah. That's an extremely long butter up session there, Chris. But yeah, thank you.
Take care. Thank you, folks. And we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Welcome back, everybody. I'd like to introduce Chuck Wellen, another of the artists in the long and talented list of Goodman Games artists. Chuck does a lot of work for Goodman, but does a lot of work on other products and other books. He's a published author. He's probably one of the busiest guys that I think that I routinely reach out to. But in spite of that, I would say that Chuck's output is tremendous, especially during the dying Earth times. Chuck dove deep into the Vance library and just came back with idea after idea of great content to be able to put into that game. We're bringing him on third as far as the artists go, because technically he lives furthest from me. So that's why he gets the third position, but he is definitely first in our hearts. So Chuck, congratulations on winning a goodie. I know you've been working with Goodman for quite a while. Tell us a little bit about what you've done for Goodman Games over the time you've been working.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. This is great. Yeah, I love working on the Dying Earth stuff. That was amazing. I had that on audiobook, and I hadn't listened in a while, so I just sort of plugged it in and started drawing, and that was great. Yes, I could do that forever. But yes, and I've been doing stuff with Joseph for a very long time. Since before the DCC RPG even. I did some covers on the older DCC modules, and then I did the cartoons in the role-playing game. Yes, I got sort of very focused on just doing cartoons for a while. And now I'm sort of back to doing sort of old school D&D, DCC RPG, and stuff for the 5e, and all sorts of different things. Yeah, so it's been great. Yeah, and maps. I love doing maps.
See, that's a thing that I don't hear enough, and it's one of the things that drew me close to you, Chuck. Is when you said, "Yeah, send me some more maps." I said, "Yes, sir, I will do that."
Yes. Oh, yes. I really like working on some of those manses for the DCC RPG Dying Earth game. That was fantastic. Yes.
Awesome. And you're another talented individual that you can work in color and black and white. You've had one of the recent MCC covers was you, and I think you might have done maps in the same adventure. So I appreciate all the hats you wear.
Well, I love MCC as well. Yes, I do like my single panel comic. Earth Space is a sort of sci-fi themed single panel comic. So I get kind of all in that zone when I'm doing the MCC stuff. Yeah, that's great. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for what you've done this year and in the past. We appreciate you. You're a Goodie winner, and you'll be getting an actual Goodie Award in the mail shortly.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate you guys. It's just such fun to work on this stuff, and I just hope to keep on doing it for as long as I possibly can.
Well, that's my goal for sure, is to keep on calling you. So I appreciate it. All right, everybody, we're going to be back in a few minutes. Thank you again, Chuck, and we're going to take a little break.
And we are back with another staple of the DCC community. Some refer to you, Tim, as the Northern David Beatty. How do you respond to that?
I think I actually coined that name, so I would say it's accurate. Yes.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for setting me straight on that. Tim, you are also a staple of the annual tournament team. And I mean, powerhouse judge this year, especially. You ran 6 events, all 6 phases of our tournament. And I know that your games, from the feedback, were some of the fans' most memorable in their entire Gen Con experience. Someone made a comment about the cadence of one of your games, especially towards the end. Tell us about your slow burn. At one where it started very withdrawn, almost hushed, and you just kept increasing in volume and intensity.
Oh, I can't even say I pay attention to it. It's just kind of like,
that's so funny.
Moment. But I'm glad to hear that. That's pretty awesome. I'm glad that I'm just not like a monotonous, boring judge. So, but yeah, I will say that those tournament games are probably the best games, especially this last Gen Con, that I've ever experienced in and out of home games and and conventions. They were pretty amazing.
That's awesome to hear. Yeah, I will say you have been one of our go-to playtesters for a while too, and I've seen kind of a metamorphosis in your judging style, especially during that DCC Lankmar testing phase.
Oh yeah.
Do you have a favorite genre of the DCC stuff that you love to run?
Oh, I love all of it. Yeah, I really do. I think I just go
You're
back
the
to
easiest person to interview, man.
Yeah, I think I go back to regular DCC just because it has everything. Where like Lankmar is very laser focused, but I do love me some Lankmar too. And we also had a very fun game at GaryCon, right? You and I, Lankmar.
Yes, acting up was wonderful. What are you gonna do with your new goodie?
I don't know. What can I do with a goodie? Was it made out of copper? Can I like hawk it for like scrap?
Okay,
No,
and tell everyone where you are
it.
currently.
Yours will be made out of paper mache.
Thanks, Joseph. I'm going to put it with my DCC belt buckles from the road crew up on my bookshelf in my office with all my other amazing DCC memorabilia.
So you're not going to run it at every game you wear it at every game you run and invoke bonuses.
there are a lot of battle vests going around the DCC crew. I think maybe I'll make a battle vest of like my goodies, and I'll make armor, right, out of a denim jacket with like all the different plated things on it.
All right, you're on, man. That's what we want to see next time.
You're on.
All right, we've got to move over to our next winner, but Tim, we greatly value and appreciate you in the community, and thank you for everything that you've done.
Yeah. No, thank you. I love you guys. This is the best crew ever. You know, I joke around and, you know, the whole comment about scrap and stuff, but it really does, it means a lot to me because of just how many great friends that I've made in real life because of this game. So thank you. And of course, thank you to Joseph for being an amazing supporter of third-party publishers as well.
Indeed, indeed. All right, we will be back.
Hi, everybody. We're back, and I'm here with James Walls. How's it going, James?
What's up?
All right. Good, good. So we wanted to recognize you for a couple things. Actually, there's a very long list. So give us 20 or 30 minutes. Let me recount everything.
I don't know why I'm here. So, and you have these follow like Tim DeShane, who's like royalty, and like that's kind of crazy. So,
well, you know, I think you deserve that. You know, you've done the Living for Crits broadcast, which I think is amazing. You raised your children on DCC RPG, which is certainly worth being recognized.
Yeah.
You run games at Gen Con and other cons, and you run tournament games, which is impressive. At Gen Con this year, we had a couple of judges who didn't have players show up, and you ran a game for the judges, which is an awesome impromptu community move.
Yeah.
You've entertained us with your tournament commentary and ESPN style commentary on a couple of occasions. But the thing I think that tipped you over the edge that I wanted to bring up tonight was I heard from somebody that earlier this year, you ran your 100th session of DCC/MCC games, which I heard was a session of, they served Brandel and Red. I was impressed.
True. And I'm walking over to, because Stephen Newton, I just framed the adventure. I said it to, I ran it at Gen Con, and I sent it to Stephen, and he signed it and sent it back to me. So that's the actual one awesome. I ran right there. So yeah, that was my 100th DCC adventure. Like, I mean, I've run a bunch of them more than once, and I've run ones I've written myself, but of stuff that people have published, you know, from the Web of All Torment to the entirety of the Purple Planet box set and the Chain Coffin box set, I have over the course of, I don't know, 8 years, knocked out 100 of them. So.
And when you say 100, like if you run Sailors of the Starless Sea 3 times, you count that as 3 or 1?
Once.
So you've actually run 100 different adventures.
I have a spreadsheet, like, I mean, marked off, like Strange Night, the Pint and Pony, done. Creep Scrag Creep, got to still do that one. Sky of Crimson Flame, done it. Hack of the Frogs, done it. You know, Grave Matters, that I have them. They're either in yellow if they're scheduled, green if they're done, and white if they haven't been scheduled yet on an Excel spreadsheet.
That is amazing, and that deserves a goodie. So we're happy to bestow one upon you. Thank you for your dedication and your Excel skills. Well, that's amazing. Anything you want to say to the community while you have the podium here?
No, I mean, if the only thing I'm going to say, one of the things I did for a long time, actually, it's funny because I of my kind of my need to track things is I had an ongoing thing of who had been in the most adventures with me, like to play through them. So I got to give a shout out to my friends, Andy Lyon, of course, my ESPN style co-host, Mark Plord, because like, when we started tracking, I already run like 50 of them. And of the remaining 50, like Andy Lyon was in 37 of those adventures and Mark Plur was in 40 of them. So my wife, I think, is like in 3rd place at 16 and my friend Shannon at 14. So the rest are 5, 6, and 7s. But so Mark and Andy, they've been along for the whole ride.
That's really impressive.
So
awesome. Well, thanks for the support. Thanks for the Excel skills. And I have to say one more thing before I cut out because my mom just texted me, so she's watching. Hi, Mom. All right, and we'll be right back with the next guest. Thanks, James.
Our next winner, we've had a lot of people here this evening who are walking away with goodies because they have shown over a long period of time that they have been a valuable asset to the DCC community. And then there are people who have basically, in true Goodman Games fashion, been thrown into the meat grinder. So our next winner, he has been a huge supporter of the DCC community. He's even a volunteer and helping keep things going. But he had the unenviable job of basically taking on the Gong Farmers Almanac in these trying times, almost single-handedly finishing up the later iteration of it. So fact that he even drove to Game Hall just so that we would have copies of the Game Hall of the Gong Farmers Almanac at the booth. A community stalwart, Mr. Eric Young. Eric, congratulations. We are very proud to award you a Goodie this evening for all the efforts you've done for the community.
Oh, wow. I'm just humbled to be here among this many fantastic people. Seriously, it's just to see me with Tim DeShane and Jogo. These are the legends. These are the legends, and to be here, it's been great. I mean, the Gong Farmers, it's great to see that finally in its fruition. All the volumes have been assigned people. Three more of them are being worked on. It's just been great.
Okay, well, good. I know it's not been an easy task, so I'm glad, they're moving toward fruition here. I know the community, I saw on Facebook, people were very, very pleased to, see that they were at Game Hall. I know everybody's kind of waiting on bated breath for them to come out. So you have done a tremendous effort getting them through all of the craziness which has been going on. You were on Mall of Mike, and we talked about the backstory about everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong in getting these out. So we're very happy that we could reward your efforts, and your perseverance in all this tonight. So.
No. Thank you. And the other thing I really like is the fact that what I'm doing, I'm also running games at my local school for the kids. And I've had at least 5 guys who are hardcore 5e guys go, oh, this is much more fun.
Oh, good. That's especially what we want to hear.
Yep. But thank you all. And I am humbled. I'm going to shut up now so the next winner can get their time in the spotlight.
All right. We'll be in touch. We'll make sure we'll get the goodie out to you soon. So thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you all.
All right.
Hi, everybody. We're back, and I'm joined by Wayne Snyder. Hi, Wayne. How you doing tonight?
Hey, Joe. How's it going?
Pretty good. I think it's worth noting you're here for a lot of reasons. You've done a lot of amazing things, but you're another amazing parent who's raising Lily on DCC RPG. So thank you for that to start with.
Yeah, that's good times.
Yeah. But I wanted to talk to everybody and you about some of the ways you've shaped the way that customers interact with Goodman Games. And at Gen Con now, the experience of visiting Goodman Games is to some extent visiting all of Wayne's work over the last couple of years. So Elena, if you could show some of the images we have, show the first picture. When you approach the Goodman Games booth, what you see is the banner hanging from the ceiling, which is obviously Doug's art, but you helped manufacture that. The obelisks that you actually hand-built, constructed, painted, and the ziggurat in the back. Plus, of course, the Gong of Doom, which is in different places at the con, which was the first thing you did for us. It's amazing the work you've done. And then, Elena, if you can show the next picture, this is a picture of our ziggurat, which is basically our storage room at the booth, but you've built the most amazing storage room that I think anybody at Gen Con has. And this image shows the immortal magician skull celebrating the release of his magazines in front of the ziggurat. But again, you help shape that customer experience in our booth, and then of course the wizard van. So Elena, if you can show the next picture showing how we ran games out of this van at Gen Con, which was fabulous. The next picture, number 4 in the series, shows how we could fit an entire gaming group in the back of the van. Wayne, it wasn't just people looking at stuff from afar or wandering between the obelisks or storing inventory in the ziggurat, but people actually got into the van that you restored, customized, painted, upholstered, and fixed the transmission on, and then brought it to Gen Con. Twice. The next picture shows a view from the back of the van with the doors open, where you can see the custom upholstery and custom job in the back. And the final picture shows when the doors are closed, how you can see the Tomb of Horrors art visible on the back. And I think, Wayne, you have sort of shaped the look and feel of Goodman Games at Gen Con. I think probably more than almost anybody else. It's kind of incredible how the customer experience now involves navigating the things you built. you once referred to it as a life-size DCC playset, which I loved. I feel like a large part of all of us, what we're doing here is basically playing pretend, and in some cases, you've brought that playing pretend to a whole new level. And I just want to recognize your impact on all of us, on the customer experience, on all the fans, and just you've made Gen Con an amazing experience for everybody with all your amazing craftsmanship.
Well,
So thank you.
Yeah, it's been super fun. And the thing is it takes somebody like you to like let somebody like me off of the leash, because you need, to make art like this, you pretty much need a patron that's going to let you do this stuff. Because I could build it all the time, but it wouldn't end up at Gen Con, or it's just, it all works together really well. And I wouldn't have been able to do any of this stuff without DCC or without you, asking me to do it and giving me the platform to be able to pull it off.
Well, it's been amazing. I think we're going to have to get together sometime soon and brainstorm what we do for the next Gen Con. I still have that idea, the sarcophagus that customers have to go into and close behind them in order to buy product, but it doesn't seem commercially viable. So we got to come up with something a little better.
Yeah, maybe vaguely sketchy, but
yeah. No, but it's been amazing what you've done. So thanks for having such an impact on every single person who visits.
It's been super fun. I can't wait to do more stuff. I keep thinking about the stuff I've already done and how I could do it better. Still working on the van, so maybe we'll have that back. I don't know.
Maybe we need a bigger gong.
We can always use a bigger gong. We do need, I don't know, we could have a booth gong and a traveling gong.
I like it. Let's talk. We'll talk more.
Sounds good.
All right, cool. Well, thanks a lot, Wayne. You definitely
Sure.
deserve a goodie.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right,
Good night.
thanks. We'll be right back.
And now with us, we have Ed Stanek, a third-party publisher with, nonstop drive. What are you doing? Hitting us with new products every quarter? At least one?
About, yeah.
Some of you may also know him as host to one of the regular shows on our Twitch channel, The Scrivenery. Am I pronouncing this correctly?
You are.
Tell us, give us like the 2-second elevator pitch for that one.
So after I'd been doing some third-party publications for a while, I came to realize, from the point that I started until having several books out, there's a lot of things that I learned along the way. And I thought, maybe I could help other people with that learning curve. And whether it came down to how to use some of the software, what the processes were like, what the steps were. And so I thought, if I can put out some of this information, maybe grease the skids for some other people. But also, I thought it was really important just to be able to encourage people that, hey, you know what, you can do it too. Because I wouldn't have necessarily thought that I'd be doing this 5 years ago. And, one of the most gratifying things has been that there have been several people who have been in touch with me and said, yeah, I got into third-party publishing and was encouraged to do so by watching the show. And so that made it worthwhile. That's what it was all about.
So I think you answered part of the question right there as to why you are here, being given a goodie this year. The encouragement and support that you have shown the community has been just wonderful. The number of third-party products are astounding to begin with, but the fact that there's a community-based, there's like a niche community inside that Venn diagram, right? Just based on creating more of this. But also for people who weren't aware, Ed here has been giving our weird Uncle Brendan a serious run for his money, and you signed up to run an unparalleled 8 full events at Gen Con. That is the first time we've had anybody under the Goodman Games banner do that. So that is like absolutely bar none for us, and you are really bringing it, Ed.
Well, I plan to do 9 next year.
Awesome.
I always save one slot to play a game, and I decided, you know what, I just have more fun running, so I'm just not even going to bother playing in
There
one
we
next year, and I'll
go.
just fill all my slots with running.
You're amazing, Ed. Thank you so much for everything that you do.
You know, I would want to give a quick mention, Trevor Stamper, my co-host on Scrivenery, who's actually fielding it himself for a couple months while I deal with a few things, has been an indispensable part of the show and the process. And so I wouldn't want to go by without mentioning the contribution that the major contribution he's had to making the show a success.
Yes, thank you as well, Trevor. Trevor, you're going to need to enter 8 events in Gen Con's books too.
And a lot of thanks too, of course, to Joseph for being such a tremendous supporter of third-party publishers. I mean, it's I think a lot of people, if you aren't engaged in the third-party process, you don't understand how unusual Goodman Games is in that respect, and it's really made this whole experience possible.
I think we're all lucky to have Joseph doing what he does for the third-party community, but as a consumer and as a fan, we're all lucky to have you and the other third-party publishers with us. So thank you so much, Ed.
Happy to.
Hey, and we're back. So it's Chris again here, and I have the honor and the pleasure to hand out the next Goodie Award to Rick Maffei, a fellow New Jerseyite. He lives just up the turnpike from me, you know, I don't know, 7 or 8 exits or so. For those of you who don't know, Rick has been around since the days of the 3rd and /3.5 edition. His first module that he wrote for Goodman Games was DCC number 26. And he's been kind of going strong since then. He has been involved with a lot of the 5e products we have. He's written an FEF module. He participated in Dungeon Denizens, Crypt of the Devil Lich, and several several I can't disclose right now. But most importantly, or number 6, the Temple of Elemental Evil. That project got out of hand pretty quickly, and Rick really stepped in and did yeoman's work to help get that one across the finish line. But again, all that aside, you know, that would be enough. But here's what we're really here for tonight. Rick has been my co-host on Talking TSR for what's going to be 40 episodes coming on our next episode. We started this 2.5 years ago when we were in the throes of the pandemic. And Joe said, hey, why don't you guys do a show like together? It's like, you have any ideas? And I said, I want to co-host. And, you know, one thing led to another. And let me tell you, folks, you guys don't realize the prep that goes into our shows when we do a deep dive into one of these classic TSR adventures. You know, we pull out the adventure, we reread it, we make notes and everything. We typically have a phone call before the show and talk for an hour. All right, sometimes we're just like shooting the breeze and everything too, but you know, but we do talk a little bit of shop too when we're there, and that is all a labor of love. And I'll be honest with you, I could not do a show without having a co-host. When I'm on coming down the 5e pike and I'm by myself, I'm kind of like lost. I need a sounding board in that, and Rick is my sounding board. We finish each other's sentences, and we love the same adventures, and we have a good time ribbing on each other occasionally. So for that, I would like to bestow upon you a 2022 Goodie Award. Rick, well deserved. Thank you very much, sir.
I almost don't know what to say. Thank you. I'm like super humbled, especially after seeing all the folks that came before me. I almost feel like I should not be in the group with them. But it's been so much fun doing the show. I love the connection I feel like we've made with the audience, and just the shared love of these old books. You know, they always tell you, like, do what you love. I would talk about these books sitting at home by myself. You know, to have an audience that actually wants to watch us talk about this stuff is great. You are so good in that, and I want the people out there to know, like, to have I could call you everything: a co-host, straight man, foil, everything wrapped into one next to me. And then Elena behind the scenes doing her magic, which is super important as well. You got my Goodie nomination this year, Elena. Yeah, it puts it all together, and you know, we've always had this, I feel like this weird psychic bond. And, you know, Chris and I used to occasionally meet at this game store in New Jersey. That's sort of in between us. And we'd get pizza and we would, you know, shoot the breeze about games. And I feel like we're still doing that, except now we have a Twitch and a YouTube audience that watches us do it. But yeah, it's been so much fun. And yeah, I thank the Dark Master for this. You know, Goodman Games is really like not as much a company as a family. And it's just great to be, you know, I feel like I'm a part of that, to be plugged into that. It's just so wonderful.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Rick. And I'll throw that gauntlet down, man. I hope to see you at the Ziggurat next year at Gen Con. I'm hoping that you're already making those plans and everything. And because we could use the seasoned help back in the days. Your mind is gonna be blown on how big the booth is now. It's not just a table and a couple books on it like back in 2007 and 2008. So
that's the plan. It's been too long, so I want to see all you folks. And as much, it's great to see people in the video, but it's not the same. So I want to roll some dice with you folks and see you folks in person.
Yeah, and we should actually like go to the Hyatt bar and talk at like 11 o'clock at night about an old classic TSR module, because we say that's what our show's all about.
Exactly.
We should
That's
do that,
it.
you know,
Yep.
and maybe record it, you know,
Yeah.
get on that and just do an actual show and say, hey, this is what we've always said our show is. Now we're actually doing it.
We'll do a live shoot.
Exactly. I'd be down for that. So that'd
I'm
be
down.
awesome. So Rick, thank you very much. We have a couple more folks want to get. Thank you for your patience tonight and everything. And
Thank you.
And I'll see you on not this Sunday, but in another Sunday at 8
Yeah.
o'clock Eastern time on Twitch, folks. Talking
Tune in,
TSR.
folks.
Come check us out.
Thanks again.
Have a good night. And
All right, the last award that I'm beginning at, we're almost home, folks. All right, so we've had a lot of faces here tonight. Some are newcomers, some are old hands and everything. And I'm very pleased to give my final award out to a new face in the scene who. He's being nominated. He was nominated for being the deadliest of the new tournament judges that we had. So he was just behind Jim Sketch. So I was told he had a ratio of fatalities to number of PCs of 1.71. Right. So I'm still just a word monkey. I don't know what that means, but still sounds impressive. Right. Tonight's award, tonight's Goodie Award goes to Brian Escobar, and I'm sure that we will hear that name again. And if you are in the tournament in the future and you hear that name, perhaps you should run in fear. But Brian, thank you very much, and I'm very pleased to present you with a goodie tonight. So thank you for killing so many of our players there.
Thank you, but it should be said that one of the tables I ran for came in second in the tournament.
Ooh, okay.
So,
So,
another table I ran for went through the whole, pretty much the whole deck of 50 characters.
so were there any TPKs?
I didn't have any TPKs, and I know there were TPKs. So, but maybe it's just the ratio added up as the deadliest.
I guess it was, but
I'm surprised.
Not too shabby coming in right after Jim Sketch. After he was an old man on this. So what made you decide that I'm going to be a tournament judge?
Well, I actually got into DCC in last year around Halloween was the first time I ran a DCC module, and I don't know. I just thought it was really great. I thought I thought if they're just great convention events, among other things, and just high octane it's like that movie Crank for role-playing games or something. So I try to be I try to kind of be like a total judge, total game master. I try to learn to run every style of module, every experiment. And so anyway, I'm really grateful for all my players who keep making characters for me to experiment on. So
what was the first adventure that you ran? It was just about a year now.
It was Sailors on the Starless Sea, because the internet told me. Yeah.
So, well, I mean, that was good. That was good preparation for the tournament, whether you do it at that time or not. So,
exactly.
If all goes well, do you think if we do you think you'll be up to doing to returning to the tournament? If you happen to be in Gen Con 2023.
Definitely. That was a lot of fun. Like, and I thought it was a great experience. And and potentially, if there's other conventions or anything, I'm really new to the convention scene, so I want to check out other big national conventions. I've just done local stuff.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we've got big enough presence, especially now that we're going to physical conventions again. So, but I mean, you can't go wrong with starting off with Gen Con. So,
No, that was pretty
everything.
awesome.
Everything downhill, everything is not downhill, but you definitely, if you try to make GaryCon, because that's when the DCC community really comes out in style, and everybody gets to hang out together, and it's a lot of fun. So
Well, I imagine I'll get to see a higher percentage of it and get to experience a higher percentage.
Maybe. I don't know. I think the GaryCon crowd might be a little tougher, because they've been around for a long time. I think it's just, they've so all right. Well, so thank you very much for all your hard work as a tournament judge, and for killing so many of our player characters. And for that, we were very happy to say congratulations again for walking out of here tonight with the 2022 Goodies Award. So thank you, Brian.
All right, thank you all.
Hi, everybody. I'm back with Martin Bunicki. Martin, say hi to everybody.
Hey, everyone. Great to see you. What an honor to be here. I've been watching these other winners, and I'm just so humbled and grateful. What a great night.
Well, Martin, you deserve a Goodie Award too. So I wanted to tell the audience about it and tell them sort of what you've done for the community and what sort of made your contribution special. I know you've been a fan of DCC and the game for years. You ran in a couple of our tournaments. I think in 2018 you were on the winning team, if I remember correctly, at Gen Con.
Yeah,
along with several members. Your family too, right? I think
both of my sons were on that team. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was amazing. I know you've written and published several DCC and MCC adventures. I think with your wife, who runs the company Gaming Honors. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, my wife Andrea, and also we've managed to rope her into being on the Twitch show several times. She likes to say she's gaming adjacent, which is literally
really
next to me.
That's great. Well, and those are all worthy of their own. But the reason we wanted to bring you on today, and Elena, if you can show the first picture, and my son is right here. Hold on, buddy. I'll be right there. The reason we wanted to bring you on today was because we found out you actually have a respectable job. You're not just a gamer. And apparently you're a professor of English, and you're teaching a class called English 280, Writing for RPGs at Valparaiso University. So maybe if you could tell us a little bit more about this class, because it's kind of fascinating.
Yeah, so it was this last year or two. I'd written a few modules that were DCC compatible and MCC compatible, and it just occurred to me the amount of creative writing and professional writing that goes into writing a module, because you have the creative work, which is to see immersive and let players imagine where they are. But when you're writing instructions for the judge, that is straight up technical professional writing. And I thought if I could get students to learn how to write for their audiences for both professional writing and creative writing, and to really care about getting the grammar right, I could really have something. And it's been really fun watching that class, because these students, I mean, you can tell them not to use passive voice all you want, but when you're actually saying, look, you've only got 300 words in this description, you can't waste them, and you want people to really enjoy this experience. It's really worked great. And I'll just say quickly, Joseph, I'm using DCC in that class because I wanted them to have a system that put the priority on storytelling, that wasn't going to get so lost in the minutia of the rules that they weren't thinking about the experience of the players. And your system does that. That's what brought me in. That's what brought my friends in. And it's really been great to watch the students engage it.
That's amazing. And like any good RPG publisher, we have spies everywhere. So we actually have a copy of your syllabus that we would like to flash on the screen here.
Oh my gosh.
And I love the fact that on your syllabus, the required reading is the DCC RPG core rulebook, Frozen in Time, and How to Write Adventure Modules That Don't Suck. Now that is a good class if I've ever heard of one.
Yeah, I have to tell you that when I put in the textbook order for How to Write Adventure Modules That Don't Suck, I had a feeling that might be the first title of its kind to ever go through the bookstore. So yes, And I have to tell you, the first day of class, Joseph, they all had their funky dice because I encouraged them all to get the first time fan kit, get your own. And when I'd ask a question, I would say, okay, everybody roll a D20. And then the person who got the highest score, I said, oh, lucky you, you're going to have to answer my question.
That's really funny. That's amazing. So I understand you're also running a Kickstarter, and I'm going to drop the link in the chat here. Diapers and daycares. Tell us a little bit about this, and I can very much identify with it, I believe, based on what I know about it.
So you're right. I have 2 boys, and actually, you know, I've been playing games for years and years and years. And when they were little, they used to come. I'd cut the next day. They'd be like, "What happened to your game, Dad?" And I'd be like, "Well, I had to go to the grocery store." And then I would try and make the totally mundane things of my life sound like the game. And they're like, "Oh no, you didn't, Dad." I said, "No, I had to go to the daycare center." And that was when the diapers and daycare, the idea first was in my head. And then I just started writing sort of like, what would it be like to try and imagine parenthood as a kind of role-playing adventure full of will saves and fortitude saves and all the things you have to buy. And actually on our Twitch show, we did the Temple of Elementary People, where you have to sort of go to a playground and sort of have to deal with all kinds of challenges.
That's awesome. Well, thank you very much for supporting, you know, gaming in general, game writing, good game writing, DCC RPG, you know, to the next generation, which is amazing. And bringing your kids along to Gen Con and running games with them. I think that's all great, and that definitely deserves a Goodie Award.
Well, thank you so much, Joseph, and thank you to your whole team and just to the amazing Gen Con DCC community. Again, like watching this show tonight is really, I mean, all of these faces, people who've run me through games, listening to Julian and Jen on the podcast. I mean, I feel like I've sort of had a flashback of my entire gaming life through DCC tonight. So thank you, and thank everyone who put this show on tonight.
Cool. Thank you very much. And we'll be right back, everybody. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight on the 2022 Goodie Awards. I think everybody who got one is really well deserved. It's an amazing assortment of great contributions to the fan base, to charitable events, to the gamers, to the system, to the community, to everything. So thanks to everybody. What I love most about this is, you know, the community decided itself who gets a Goodie Award. You guys sent in the nominations. Many of the things that people did to warrant these were done with no desire for anything material and reward. It's just to help everybody. So I'd encourage you guys to continue that spirit for next year. And let's just keep the amazing contributions in the community going. And let's continue to just be good to each other for the next year and make it a good year for everybody. So thank you for joining us tonight. And we'll bid you good night. Hope everybody has a good night.